It's not nice, even when the Legos do it. Who's ever playing with that Lego set is a pretty sick puppy, to say the least here, as there's a lot of weird, wild, crazy things at stake here that I think people need to really realize how serious of a situation it is here, as Donald Trump has just released the latest threats calling for unconditional surrender, which Tucker Carlson concludes could only be done through the potential use of boots on the ground or through the use of nuclear weapons, a similar situation to what happened during the 1940s with the United States and Japan. Here, as Alex Jones is now coming out and saying nukes are on the table, as there's some very interesting reporting going out now of allegedly Trump cabinet members buying nuclear bunkers. What in the world's going on here? We're going to talk about that, as well as the larger kind of potential of if a nuke is potentially going to be used here. As there's some people saying, yep, absolutely, there's a big chance of that happening, while other people are saying, no, actually, it makes no sense at all, as there are already some movements being made in the Middle East right now that are concluding that this could potentially be happening at any moment. We hope and pray it doesn't. We hope this war ends. If you agree, subscribe. If you appreciate our coverage of this conflict from a more kind of critical point of view that likes to, analyze and look at this stuff as we've been looking and analyzing this stuff for over 21 years, you look at a lot of our older videos, and it's just eerily wild about how we predicted a lot of this, as the White House just released another hype video.
On the orders of the President of the United States, U.S. Central Command.
Yeah, more music and more like boomer slop. Of like,
the might of the United States Armed
Forces. He reminded the world.
As the White House says, the regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces. What does that mean, learn? What are they going to learn? I mean, we're bombing the crap out of them. We're bombing their, and again, CNN's reporting that there have been a lot of unintended casualties, civilian targets that have been sadly hit here. I think a lot of this is by accident. I don't think this is done on purpose, but the cost is still ramping up to a lot of innocent civilians that are paying the ultimate price here. As now, it does look like Bibi has ratcheted up attacks against the infrastructure of Iran. That's going to make life miserable for the Iranian people. And they are going to be paying the ultimate price here. As Alex Jones came out in his video declaring, they're talking about the use of nuclear weapons now because it seems like this form of war isn't working for us. We need more. As we will load up that clip here right now. Sorry, sometimes Twitter has some issues. Here we go.
And if we don't yell and scream, they're going to send in ground troops, folks. And when we lose a whole bunch of troops, you know how we are over here. People are going to get pissed off and demand total regime change, and then they're having discussions of hitting Iran with nuclear weapons. And then in every study, that has a very good chance of dragging in Russia and China and North Korea. Heaven help us, people. Can you?
Yep. Listen, a lot of the war now is being fought with artificial intelligence. And artificial intelligence in war games strategically says, use the nuke. 95% of the times during war games. As now we got this very interesting article from Modernity News talking about how Trump cabinet members allegedly are buying up nuclear bunkers. The Iranian conflict has ignited a massive surge in demand for nuclear-proof bunkers across America. Why? Because, again, it's just like an escalating cascade of insanity here. China, Russia, very close to Iran here. Pakistan also saber-rattling, Turkey saber-rattling, Iran, Rupert Murdoch and Bibi are like, oh yeah, that Turkey's probably going to have to be next here, as now, allegedly, top Trump administration officials are securing their own underground fortresses amid whispers of a big global conflict. Now, again, usually some people are being bombastic, sensationalistic here. I worry about it because history has a way of like rhyming and repeating. Not exactly repeating to be exactly the same here, but there could be a point in time where we look back in the history books right? And it's like, okay, yeah, there's, and we look at the world map. It's like, okay, Iran, is right. Okay, it's not too close, but pretty close to Ukraine. And it's like, okay, that's where the fighting began between these proxy wars that are happening right now, and then it evolves and escalates. As a Texas-based company which builds everything from $20,000 ballistic shelters to multi-million-dollar compounds is reaping a harvest from the heightened tensions. Hubert revealed that 2 senior Trump cabinet members are now new customers. One of them texted me yesterday asking me, "When will my bunker be ready?" he said. These bunkers boast hardened steel construction, armored blast doors, air purification systems, and luxuries like cinemas, pools, and ranges designed to withstand drone strikes or worse. Yet, Hubert is blunt about limits. No bunker in the world is designed to withstand a bunker buster from an American bomber. I'm sorry, you just can't make a bunker that strong. That's, of course, why would... Well, before going into this kind of other theoretical type of conversation about what could potentially be happening next, we do one ad read during this video, and this today is for WeAreChange.shop, my store, where we got incredible, great products like our vitamin D. Our vitamin D is different because it not only has K2, which you need, but it also has olive oil in there. You need healthy fats. I like to take my vitamin D with my breakfast during the start of my day. At the end of my day, with my last meal of the day, I like to take my magnesium glycinate. So if you want some magnesium glycinate, we got the Sunforce bundle available to you. We're just getting the vitamin D back in stock again, and we're going to be shipping it out very soon. As Dr. Eric Berg talks about, hey, if you're deficient in vitamin D, which vast majority of the American people are, especially when they live up north, especially during the winter seasons, that's why a lot of people get sick and ill. It could lead vitamin D deficiency to nightmares, restless leg syndrome, aches, acne, bipolar disorder, skipped heartbeats, breathing disorders, psoriasis, eczema, sinus issues, hay fever, rapid breathing in infants, recurrent tonsillitis in children, structural development problems in children, long cough, early puberty, urethra fibroids, irregular menstrual cycles, longer menstrual cycles, urinary incontinence, vertigo, scopolamine, don't know what that means, myopia, glaucoma, and you're not working really well. And again, do your own homework before putting anything in your own body. Get a blood test once a year. Check out your levels. The doctors are like, oh, it's like criminally low, like almost very dangerously low and deficient. You're good. You're in the levels. You're fine. They don't even tell you. Doctors don't even care. Do your own homework. Do your own research. People are like, oh, yeah, it's like 29.99. And I'm like, what? I started taking recently, and my health has skyrocketed. My sleep skyrocketed. Yesterday, my sleep was 97. Today, 93. What did I take? I took vitamin D. I was always having a hard time being like, why is my sleep crap? And I'm doing everything right. I'm not drinking. I'm wearing blue block. I'm wearing like eye glasses now because like the blue screen just gets, it's just looking at it all the time. It's really bad for your eyes. So I got these new glasses during the day, and I got more hardcore orange ones during the night. So my melatonin isn't blasted. I was doing all that. Nothing was working. My sleep was still, it was medium. Now my sleep is incredible. Why is my sleep incredible? Pretty sure. Vitamin D available on wearechange.shop, which you support yourself and support this independent media broadcast at the same time by doing so. Now, does this surprise me? No. Trump has been shown to take a lot of risks. In my opinion, a lot of them are very reckless. Right now, there's reports of a nightmare scenario looming as global markets head for the biggest oil output disruption in history, according to one top energy guru here. As now, the United States also is reporting, according to ABC News, that the U.S. has intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran that may serve as a, quote, operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country, according to federal government alert to law enforcement agencies. And there are a lot of law enforcement agencies, including here, being like, hey, guys, watch out. Axios. Scoop. U.S. Dismayed by Bibi's Iran fuel strike, sources say. Now, it could be not just the United States sending in nukes. It could be Bibi sending in nukes here, as there are reportings happening from within the Pentagon and within the Trump administration with government officials, and a Bibi official even confirmed that there was a U.S. message sent to Bibi saying, "What the F? What the F?" After Bibi decided to significantly strike the oil infrastructure, which is going to create just tremendous amounts of human suffering. First, the Gulf War syndrome was linked to Saddam Hussein burning the oil fields in a non-populated area. And our soldiers came back very sick from the Iraq War because of it. Now we're doing that inside of a city center with 10 million plus people. Goodness gracious. As why are we doing this? Well, we need to regime change, as it looks like the new supreme leader, Murtadabab Khamenei, is more radical than his father, the Ayatollah Khomeini. And he just lost his father, his mother, his wife, his son, his niece, his nephew, his sister, and his brother-in-law in just 1 week because of the Bibi American strikes here. And people are saying you're expecting him to be more friendly towards the United States than his father, as his father had a religious fatwa against the development of nuclear weapons. If this is a regime change or a regime modification operation, so far it's, quote, going very terribly wrong. Mark Levin, get the new Ayatollah, get the new Khomeini, get the new Khomeini, get the new Khomeini. As people are saying, Levin, once again, demonstrating the full range of his thoughts. Yeah, it's like a rabid dog that you got to just say no to. As this video here, I think, perfectly represents what just happened. Yeah. As Tucker Carlson extrapolated, some people are saying he's being very hyperbolic. I could kind of understand that, right? But Tucker Carlson has been back channeling, talking to Donald Trump. Donald Trump and him had a personal beef over Laura Loomer over the weekend. But now Tucker Carlson's coming out and saying there's a big possibility that Trump wants to use nukes here. And then we have other people saying, yeah, there's a big chance of that.
Unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter if they want. And everyone knows that. And that has been, if there's one consistent lesson of history, it means unconditional surrender means foreign troops get to rape your wife and daughter. Everyone can feel that. That's like the most atavistic instinct there is. And so to avoid that, people will do anything. And so that's why it requires that level of force to get a population subdued to the point of unconditional surrender. That's why. And so in this case, of course, we don't have the ground force necessary. I don't think Americans would voluntarily participate in it. I just don't think we can do that. It would require weapons of mass destruction. It would require presumably nuclear weapons in order to do that. And let's not lie to ourselves. We're moving toward that.
Yeah, we are. And it's dangerous and it's stupid. And I mean, the situation right now is just awful, horrible, especially when it comes to the local citizenry. As right now, we're talking about millions of people having their energy grid taken down, their environments poisoned, their water depleted. There's real thoughts and consideration going towards the United States being responsible for blowing up that girls' school. I mean, this is just tragic. And now, why wouldn't they? This is the argument that we need to make here, because this is what the sociopaths do, right? Right. We're seeing what Bibi and the U.S. military is doing, right? And it's creating just. First, it was like we got to win the hearts and minds, and we got to liberate the Iranian people. And now it's like, well, yeah, now we're going to take away their water. We're going to poison their environment. We're going to bomb their schools. Oh yeah, their hospitals are going to get blasted too. Yeah, send in that 2,000-pound bomb right next to that hospital. Let's go. And it's like no care and consideration for human life. So why would they, when it comes to now the use of potential nuclear weapons, especially low-yield tactical nuclear weapons on hardened facilities that they can't get to, right?
The Guardian reported Trump was getting cold feet, worried about the effectiveness of bunker busters and not willing to use tactical nukes. But the White House tells Fox that's not true. Everything's on the table, even tactical nukes. The big question is if the United States does target Iran, what happens next? The White House isn't considering boots on the ground. Iran's 3 times the size of Texas and surrounded by mountains.
Yeah, that's a big deal there, right? As the U.S. does have the hardware, right? We do have the capabilities to send in a nuclear bomb. So does Israel. So does Bibi. As the U.S. has deployed an E-6B Mercury to the Middle East, it's known as their Doomsday Plane. It's their flying command center that could coordinate nuclear strikes and communications with submerged submarines, right? And this is why the Chinese are saying, yeah, we gotta make our own submarines. We gotta make sure we have more submarines here. As a lot of people are saying, it could be used in a low yield tactical way, send in a bunker buster, and then send in a nuke there to specifically go after a lot of these hardened military positions that the Iranians have been preparing for over 30 plus years now, as there are reports from Al Jazeera English that Bibi's army has issued a forced evacuation threat for people located in an industrial zone in the city of Isfahan. That's the city with this hardened military installation from the Iranians that could potentially be struck here. Now, this whole industrial area being kind of evacuated here signals, as some people are saying, it could be the use of a nuclear weapon by the Israelis. And if you think they're not wargaming this or strategizing this, you're crazy. Nick Fuentes has some interesting comments here about the possibility of Trump using a nuke, which he thinks is a big possibility.
I have the sneaking suspicion, maybe I'm crazy, I have the sneaking suspicion that Trump wants to use one. Because everything that Trump is about is legacy. I want to invade Greenland. I want to invade Canada. I want to make the map bigger. We're going to run Venezuela. I'm going to build a new White House next to the old White House. Everything he's doing is about his legacy, his place in history. It's literally like a bucket list thing. And he is totally off the rails, totally off the reservation. It's about destruction and recreation in his own image. And I have this hunch that he wants to use a nuke, that he wants to be the one to say, I pressed the button, I did it, I reset the world order. I think there's a temptation there. And I wouldn't have said that in the first term, but based on everything I've seen from him now, and this is just a hunch, that's all it is, it's just a gut feeling. I think for ego reasons, he wants to have said that he did it.
Right.
And I think he wants the history books to say that he did it, that he pressed the button.
Yeah.
It's the ultimate power, literally the ultimate power. So I would never rule that out in the second term. In Iran, that would be the one. How do you reset non-proliferation and everything? Drop another fucking nuke. It's not likely, but I think there's maybe a 10% chance that happens.
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with that 10% chance. I kind of agree with that assessment here, right? Because it does seem like the whole winning of the hearts and minds doesn't work. It does seem like this is a conundrum. The Iranians are not negotiating. They're not willing to have a ceasefire. Tucker Carlson says, pray that the spell breaks and the world is saved. I agree that there's a spell here. Now, Professor Jiang, who predicted Trump would win the election, predicted that Trump would bomb Iran, and predicted that Trump would lose the Iran war, came out with a different understanding, saying, I don't think Trump is going to nuke. And again, small chance that he is. But the fact that there's even talks and consideration that there's a 10% chance, I think is just absolutely psychotic and insane. As he says, I don't think there's going to be a nuke used here.
What is the potential of a nuke dropping?
I would actually discount a nuke dropping, okay? So, and this is something that I think occupies a lot of people, but let me explain why I don't think this will ever happen, okay? You would use a tactical nuclear weapon if you want to win this war at all costs. But that's assuming these guys want to win this war. But if you look at the eschatology, right? If you look at the entire premise of the Greater Israel Project, they want to actually lose this war. Why? Because the point of America going into Iran with a ground invasion is for Americans to lose so badly that they're forced out of the Middle East. America is forced to go back into the Western Hemisphere. They no longer involve themselves in the Middle East. And so when America goes, CENTCOM, Central Command, folds naturally into Israel, thus creating the Greater Israel Project, right? All these American bases, all the American technology, the satellites, the airplanes, the bombs, all go into Israel, right? So it benefits actually Israel to drag this war out as long as possible, to force a ground invasion that destroys American morale and then they pick up the pieces, right? The longer this war goes on, the more destruction there is, the more Israel benefits. So Israel is not getting bombarded, especially Tel Aviv, by Iranian missiles. But you may not have known this, but there are actually Israelis in Tel Aviv burning down their own homes for the insurance money, right? So the Israelis have absolutely no problem with destroying their own country if it means more profit in the future. Okay.
Now, that's an interesting strategy. We're going to see how all of this kind of plays out here. As, of course, the use of nuclear weapons, to me, it's like the end game. And it just spells end times prophecies, in my own personal opinion. And game over. Small chance that it happens. I think that we're even playing with the matches around all these powder kegs is just insane and stupid. Now, Spencer Hakami has a different type of prediction here. And I think, because again, worst case scenario, war drags on, boots on the ground, nuclear weapons. Best case scenario, Trump just ends it now. Right? The worst case scenario is pretty bad. Best case scenario says oil stays over 100 for a few more days. Trump panics as he sees his poll numbers collapse. It does. Fox News is like, we support this. We love this. And I'm like, yeah, bull crap. You guys are liars. And they're like, we need Turkey now. We got to bomb Turkey. And I'm like, my goodness, the propaganda on Fox News is crazy. Trump panics as he says, the poll numbers have already collapsed. The support has already collapsed. Trump makes some schizophrenic truth social post that the U.S. won this war. U.S. soldiers leave Iran. The Ayatollah's son just got a 40-year reign, courtesy of the red, white, and blue. Trump and the Hexet bomb Cuba next. And that's what Lindsey Graham's talking about, saying, oh, we got to make Cuba great again. Look, here's Cuba. We're going to bomb them. Cuba is screwed because they have no energy or resources. They might just capitulate and fold by themselves, by the way. But it wouldn't surprise me, as of course it looks like there's poking and prodding attacks here by the Americans into Cuban territory. I think best case, worst case, I think we're somewhere in the middle. I think the more we speak out, the less chance we have of the worst case scenario. And I think that's why we need to speak out more than ever. If you agree, share this video. I wouldn't be here for you guys watching, subscribing. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.